Alright, named Mario. Grew up, born and raised north side St. Louis. Uh, I'm actually from the other side of Grand. This is the Dub side. I'm from over by College and Carter, Linton, DeSoto. I grew up both parents in the home. Fortunately, unfortunately, a lot of my friends didn't have both parents in the home, so I was able to have instilled in me the whole concept of having two parents and how important that was. Uh, my father, may rest in peace, he instilled in me responsibility, and my mother also. So it's kind of like a shock that I chose the path I chose. Like the only person in my family that actually went to the streets. Everybody else, homeowners, work, college, everything. So I guess I'm the black sheep. Is that what they call it? But right behind where I grew up at was like a known drug set. And a lot of my friends were from over there, so I gravitated toward that way. Started selling drugs maybe when I was in junior high. At first it started off as just a little quick way to get some money for shoes and clothes to go to school. Then it became more important to me because I seen that a lot of my friends was having stuff that I wanted, cars, and so that ended up becoming my 9 to 5. Started getting arrested. Like as soon as I turned 18, I was able to escape the juvenile system. But as soon as I turned 18, I was on my way. Caught my first charge at 18. Got probation. Walked down probation. Ended up messing up the probation and went and did 120. But then after that shit, it was back and forth. I probably from the year 1994 to the year 2018, I was in prison or either on parole in some form of fashion. Finally got off parole last year, so I feel free, but at the same time I feel trapped because I ain't doing nothing with my freedom. I'm out here still bullshit, getting high, making a mess of myself. Shit, I got a brother and I got a sister. They doing good. Don't really have too much communication with them, not because of any type of strife or strain between us, but because I don't know, it might be a little bit of shame on my part and a little bit of embarrassment on their part, but we still cool. You know what I'm saying? My mother, she stressed every day about me. If I ain't calling her asking her for some goddamn money, I'm just worrying her to death. She wait on the phone call for somebody to call and tell her that we got your son laying up here. So I definitely understand her pain on that part, but ain't doing shit about it. Let me see. Yeah, man.
What schools did you go to?
I went to Beaumont High School. Well, I was assigned to Beaumont High School. By being right in the neighborhood, I probably go into lunch break, and then once lunch break come, I leave and go back over on Lit and start selling drugs again. Shit. Uh, Found myself involved in gangs. I wasn't no big gang banger, nothing like that, but I was in it. Had some incidents and shit. Luckily, I was able to escape a lot of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Thank God. Lost a lot of friends, a lot of fucking friends behind that bullshit, man. And this was when we was young, man. Talking about friends that I lost when we was like 18 and 19, man. Never even got to see adulthood for real. So shit, I feel real lucky that I made it to see 48. Shit. Right now I'm struggling with this fentanyl addiction. And like at no time in my life doing my drug addiction, well, maybe it's because I never had a real extended run using drugs, because I'll always get arrested and sent to prison. So while I'm in prison, shit, I'm a beacon of health. I'm eating right, exercising, you know what I'm saying? But this is like the first time where my health has been, you know what I'm saying, affected by my drug uses and shit. This fentanyl shit got me to where I can barely stand up straight. It's causing some type of situation with my muscles to where like they not working like they're supposed to. they been weakened by this fentanyl. So I gotta get that to club. Shit, what else?
Who introduced you to that lifestyle as far as like we came up in them 80s and 90s running back and forth to the St. Louis Center, everybody getting money, everybody running the Gus's in that downtown area.
Yeah.
But all the fun that people was having, man, what transitions did you see making where people start turning into addicts? They say it's like young guys turning into addicts, young guys turning into robbers.
I got you.
Young guy, like, because it was fun in the beginning, because it was all about the money, but at some point, it's like the money dried up and it's like everybody just start killing everybody and everybody start wanting to do something to somebody else trying to get ahead. And a lot of the treachery and the cutthroat was involved and it got introduced. And when would you say you saw that transition?
Well, I saw that transition, like, for me, it was like in the early 90s. A lot of my friends that I grew up with, like you say, it was all about the money in the beginning. But, like, for example, like, when I started using marijuana, like, I used to understand the whole concept about them saying marijuana, gateway drug, but then it don't mean because you use marijuana, you're going to use other drugs. But what it could mean is because you willing to experiment, then who's to say if you experiment with marijuana, you might not say, shit, let me try some of that coke, or let me try some of that boy, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I found myself doing. It started off with the like me and my friends, we used to go in on packages and shit, get 5-6 ounces, and we'd probably take like a 16th of it, a powder, and just have it on us, just snort powder like we Tony Montana and shit.
See, not cutting you off, Mr. Mario. See, back then it was glamorous because only guys with money was putting it up their nose.
Exactly.
If you wasn't smoking crack, it's like you was okay. But it was the same thing actually, just in different forms. And eventually that powder habit turned into that hard habit. It's like a transition, man.
Yeah, because how it happened for me is, and I'll never forget, I was messing with the powder and I didn't have no powder. So I had the bright idea to take some crack and crush it down and try to snort it. And I remember that shit just clogged my nose up and I sneezed the shit out. So I said, well, hold on, let me try another way. I took a blunt and put some weed there and took another 20 and crushed it down. And I fired that motherfucker up in my home where me and my children and my children's mother stayed there. They wasn't there, but all I remember at the time when I fired that motherfucker up was, she gonna smell this shit because it was loud as hell. So.
I remember they was called Primos, Lasers,
Chewies.
but we called them funky ones because I don't give a damn where you smoke that shit at. It's gonna be.
It's distinct. You ain't gonna mistake this.
You ain't gonna mistake it. So we called them funky ones. Like, hey, that ain't such and such. Like that's one of them. No, it's such. Nah, man, like you can't hide it.
You can't hide that.
But that was the beginning. It went from the marijuana to the funky one. Then pretty soon I don't need the marijuana no more. Like I'ma just go with the, and it's crazy, but that's how everybody transition, man. Like for the most part.
And then I started messing with the heroin. And like little did I know, like when I started messing with the heroin, a few friends of mine had already been messing around with it. So when I started messing with it, by me not going out of my way to try to hide everything. When they said I was messing with it, they like, oh, you fuck around? I'm like, what you mean do I fuck around? They're like, man, I've been fucking with this shit. So that kind of like brought me and a particular group of my friends together because we all did the same thing.
See, and the heroin was the same thing as the coke. As long as you weren't jacking it and mainlining it, you just snorting it. Oh man, I ain't no addict like him. See, he got the needle, but it was all the same thing. You was physically addicted to it over time, where your body depended on it. It's the same thing as the needle or the pop. It's the same, but in our minds, we looked at it differently.
Then when we tell ourselves to try to justify what we doing, or to make ourselves feel as though we ain't reached that rock bottom yet, but
I got money, I can afford mine. I ain't big, and I ain't. but it all comes to the same destination location over time. If you give it time, and now we got this fentanyl. What was your introduction into the fentanyl situation? Because that's crazy.
Well, actually, my introduction to the fentanyl was in prison. Like and like a lot of my time in prison, like I didn't mess with no drugs. I might have smoked some weed here and there, but no, I was too concerned with coming home, so I didn't want nothing to affect me coming home. I didn't want no dirtiness, none of that shit. But probably like around my last time in prison, like I hadn't even seen no fentanyl on the street before and heard about it. So somebody I knew was getting this shit in prison, and they gave me some, and I did this shit, and I could tell that it wasn't the same as heroin, but it gave you that high similar to heroin. So I was dipping and dabbing. I didn't go hard enough to where I caught no habit in prison. But what ended up happening was when I was released, by me already being introduced to it, it was easier for me to pick it up, you know what I'm saying? So I started using this shit on the street, but like I say, I ended up going back for parole violations here and there, so I never really had a chance to indulge in it. But here, since I've been on parole, I've been messing around with it a lot more than I wish I would have. And it ain't really doing me no good, man. It's like an everyday chase to try to get some money, and the shit ain't expensive, so you would wonder why, like, how you could get a pill for $3-4, and sometimes I ain't even got that to get a fucking pill. So it's like, I've been with pills for $10. I did way better then than I do now. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of inflation or what. I don't know, but yeah, it been a struggle, man. And I definitely been looking for a way out. Not saying I've been looking for it the way I should, but some got to give, because I definitely don't want to die out here, but there's definitely a possibility if I keep on bullshit.
What removes the fear attached to fentanyl? Because, you know, they classify that as one of the most dangerous drugs on the market. Using it, handling it, selling it, just being around it. What removes the fear where someone won't be afraid to use it? Like, how do you get in your mind like, oh, it ain't gonna kill me, when you see all of these people kind of slowly fading out, man?
I just lost one real good friend, childhood friend, and another friend of mine. And it been a year already. My one friend, he had got locked up in the Justice Center, did 3 months, he got out, and I was hoping he didn't get out and start back using, but he did just that. It was out 5 days, and OD'd and died. And another friend of mine, he was out 12 hours, and OD'd and died. But what removed the fear is the whole idea that it ain't gonna happen to me. Like, people get into their head that they gonna be the one that's gonna beat the odds. Like, it can't happen to me. I know every time I use this shit, that it can happen. I try not to use by myself, because that's what their situation was. They went off somewhere where couldn't nobody help them, and when they were found, it was too late. So I try to keep Narcan on me, but shit, I can't Narcan myself if I do something and go out. So I try to stay around people when I do this shit. But and a lot of the fear that's removed from it, I think it's just that like a lot of ODs, people are able to help people, rescue people, because of this Narcan shit. But there ain't probably gonna be no Narcan around every time, you know what I'm saying? Like,
especially when you're in the closet using.
Yeah, it's just a risk. It's just a risk you take, and you just pray that you come out on the other side intact. Cause I had never OD'd when I was using real heroin. Shit, so I've been messing with this fentanyl. I done had quite a few ODs.
What's the difficulty level, in your opinion, on trying to kick it and get off of it? Like, how difficult is that?
I think the main thing with the getting off of it, man, at least with me anyway, and I know it really can't be avoided, is don't nobody want to
go through the
experience
withdrawal.
no suffering, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you experiencing suffering using the shit, you don't want to go through the suffering that it's gonna take you to get up off of it. Like we might have to do a detox for 4-5 days and be uncomfortable and not sleeping and sweating and you know what I'm saying. But in the end, it's worth it because I didn't have to deal with this shit before where I got arrested and had to go to jail or sit in the justice center and they ain't giving you shit. You know what I'm saying? But concrete, you know what I'm saying? And you have to deal with it then. You ain't got no choice because they ain't gonna let you go, none of that shit. So I figure if I could be forced to do it, then I should have some type of willpower of my own to do it on my own terms. Like, it is what it is. Like, you gotta just deal with it. Like, and when you come out on the other side, you're gonna be much better that you did it. You know what I'm saying? So that's really where I've been in here lately, man. Like I was telling somebody the other day, it's gonna be summertime, bro. I don't think I'm gonna make this. Like I don't feel like going through a whole nother summer just to prepare for winter and be out here in the cold again, man. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and do something, man. Cause this shit ain't gonna work, bro. I can't keep doing this, man.
If you could go back and talk to a young Mr. Andre, knowing what you know now, what would you tell him?
Shit, put it down and don't pick it up. I tell him that regardless of how things may seem right now, it's gonna get a lot worse and a lot quicker than you think. So don't let whatever joy you think you're experiencing right now be what guides you to keep going down this path, because I'm telling you, it's an illusion and you're gonna end up being a loser in the end. So just go ahead and leave it alone and do something different.
And in closing, if there's anything you want to say to anybody who might be looking for you, worried about you, wondering if you're okay, now's the time you can say it.
I'm in touch with everybody that's important to me. But I do want to send a message out to everybody that's listening that regardless of how dire or fucked up things may seem right now, always remember that it was decisions that you made that got you here. So it's gonna take a whole different set of decisions to get you up out of here. You ain't get here overnight, and you ain't gonna get out of here overnight. But if you start making the right decisions right now, we all get up out of here together.
Hey man, we thank you for taking time out with us, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.